stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, everybody. As you can see, the first order of the day is search and rescue. I just talked with him. I'm going to turn my cell phone off because I don't have it in the and he thought it was at 5. He wanted to be on the agenda, so we're going to skip past him. So we're going to start with public comments. The public was allowed to speak. Period of time will be 5 minutes. Speakers may be required to step to the front of the room. They will inform us who they are, where they live. There will not be an engagement of debate. I will interrupt any speaker during the remarks for the purpose of clarification of information. All remarks shall be addressed to the board and may not be addressed to any member. Speakers shall observe the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste, and interested parties or their representatives may address the board by written communications. So at this time, I'll open the floor for public speaking. Privilege of the floor. Gina Judd, I know who you are. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm here because a few concerned mothers called me regarding the new store that's opening up on Main Street. It's called Lowville Convenience Store, but they're stating that they're seeing some smoke shop items and signs in there. And I know that we changed the zoning laws, and I wanted to make sure that our zoning laws didn't change again, and if the village would be able to look into that for us. We did call the zoning board. They're looking into it, but if you can keep it on your radar, we would appreciate that. That's something that moms in the village would prefer stayed out of our village.
Unless I'm incorrect, that type of operation would be prohibited by our current codes.
Right, I think because it's saying convenience store, it's going in as retail, and so that's our concern.
Yeah, it's not allowed until it's Saturday.
So it will be stopped based
It
on
wouldn't be
code.
allowed there if it met the definition of a smoke shop.
Who would enforce that? Would our police officer?
No, it would be the zoning.
Zoning
enforcement,
enforcement.
yeah.
It's a convenience store, not a smoke shop.
No, but if they're selling smoke shop type stuff, is what I'm saying, if it could be classified
Yeah.
as
Okay.
a smoke shop by definition, then it would not be allowed.
Are you done, Gina?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll be able to keep that on your radar and make sure that doesn't get open.
Can I ask a favor? I'm sure you're going to keep it on yours. Keep me informed. You've got my cell phone number. Is there anybody else that would like to speak with privilege of the floor? Is that Mr. Ostrow? You must have known it was at 4 o'clock. Were you ever late when you were doing your movie? Did you show up on time?
Occasionally.
Really? Okay. Everybody has received the minutes of the 7/15/26 meeting. Is there any additions, deletions, corrections? If not, I'll take a motion to approve those minutes. They look okay to me. Anybody else?
I'll move.
With Mr. Trillian?
I'll second it.
Mr. Adsett, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're going to do the approval of the vouchers.
Okay, give this a try. I've got general fund $282,946.61 so far. There we go.
I have it written down.
You got it written
I
down?
have it written down.
Go for it then.
Water is $90,098.40, and sewer is $157,039.36.
Before we make a motion to approve, we have one on there that I would like to get a motion and approve separately, simply because it's above and beyond the contract, but I don't have any problem with it. Guymo, with their storm drain sewers, did some extra work. and they totaled $35,000. And I'll make the motion that, based on what I have studied, that they'll be approved. If I can get a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. With that, I will take a motion to also approve all the vouchers.
I'll make a motion, we approve the vouchers.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. At this time, I'm going to go back and invite Search and Rescue to Mr. Levesque to speak.
Just a second here. He's sticking a mic on for us. But it's quite tangled.
Don't choke him. Thank you. While this is going on, what I would like to say is, as the mayor of the village, I certainly want to be concerned about the health, safety, and welfare of our constituents. And I was invited and attended the Search and Rescue's last board meeting. I was there for 3 hours. I also attended the meeting of the legislators, where it was told that they would be done at 5 o'clock the next morning, because they didn't have a medical director and that the county was going to take it over. Since then, at that point in time, they secured a medical director. I think things are moving forward in a positive direction, but I want to make sure that Mr. Levesque has a chance to explain everything to you. We do have a simple resolution that we can approve that would make the search and rescue at any time the primary, and that can be removed at any time, because as the county moves forward, we don't know what's going to happen. I think that's a fair statement, but I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Levesque.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the time. I think one of the most important things we do is kind of understand the facts of what's happening. And what ended up happening is there's a lot of stuff that ended up out on, you know, in the community and on social media, and it's very disappointing, because the information that was put out there was, a lot of it was misconstrued significantly. I want to start with a couple of things. I think I was here at a board meeting about a year ago and had a discussion pertaining to EMS and where EMS was going. This has been about a 5-year process that we've been discussing this with the county. Started with Ryan Pichet and now has come to Tim Hunt. And we know that volunteerism is dwindling. We know that. You get some upticks and you get some downticks, but for years we've seen this happening. And it's hard for us as an agency to cover everything, right? It's very common for us to be in Harrisville and West Lyden at the exact same time and ask for Beaver Falls or somebody else to come into the village to cover us, because we don't have the staff, because we're trying to cover that. Financially, we can't put on the additional crews that Manning would require us to have to cover that vast territory. Insurance billing just does not allow it. So we proposed the plan in the county to add additional resources. And I think initially that got misconstrued as we're trying to push the volunteer out. That's absolutely not the case. If you look back years ago, we staffed Turin, and that was just a supplemental. But what we found out that year of staffing, one year they did it, Search did it, and they contracted with Turin. The other year we did it for nothing. But what you found out real quickly is we lost significant funds. I mean, we lost significantly staffing Turin because the call volume's not there. So financially, we just can't do it. So we proposed this plan, and then we moved forward with it. I want you guys to understand kind of some of the back history behind it. Last year in the spring, I proposed it. Later spring, Harrisville, 2 years ago or so, Harrisville went out of business, right? They just said, their ambulance is done, we're not doing it anymore. They wanted Natural Bridge to take over. I had no issue with that whatsoever. I did not interject, I didn't do anything. A year later goes by, and I get word that Harrisville's CON expired, which means that the operating authority for that area falls back on Search and Rescue, because we have the countywide CON. Natural Bridge does not have a CON. They were applying for a CON, but they have no operating authority in that area at all. By Department of Health law, public health law, they cannot cross their CON area and respond into that area because they don't have a mutual aid agreement, they don't have a CON. So we're legally and obligated to fulfill that requirement. So we staffed Krogan with a third crew, which we knew was going to financially hurt, but we had to. That upset the county significantly, to the point I was called into a meeting with Tim Hunt, Larry Dahlhoff, Herb Frost, Jeff Nellenbeck, and Bob McKenzie, and probably had the most unprofessional meeting in my life, where I was hollered at, yelled at, screamed at, and threatened to be shut down. Tim Hunt's exact words were, "I will call Jerry Carey today, have him start an ambulance and shut you down." And when I asked if that was a threat, Herb Frost leaned across the table and said, "That's not a threat, that's a solution." Go ahead.
So, Wes Live and Jeff Nellenbeck,
Mm-hmm.
the last 2 weekends on the Mud Lake Road, you've responded to a call.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very familiar with the Mud Lake Road.
Mhm.
Jeff happens to live on that road,
Mhm.
and that's the road that my wife grew up on.
Right.
But anyway,
So, we left that meeting. I still staffed Krogan because I had to. We worked through, at that point, and I'm going to be honest with you, at that point, I opposed Natural Bridges CON, and I'll tell you why. Number one, we're already staffing for it. Number two, they've got one EMT and one driver. That's all they got. Their CON application shows 8. But being in EMS, I know those 8. And I asked the region to pull the charts and tell me how many people out of those 8 actually responded to a call that year. It was 1. That's all they have to cover that entire area. So I opposed the CON. Of course, that didn't make anybody any happier. But logistically and morally, they need coverage. And that's what we did. So then we fast forward to the CGR study. And the first little bit of information out of the CGR study we got was, search and rescue needs help. They're doing 80% of the work, which we are. And we knew that. And the day that I went and proposed this, when they asked me if I was opposed to a study, my exact words were, I'm not opposed to a study if data getting out in the community is going to help, basically make the public understand what we're up against and what we're doing. But I am opposed to spending taxpayer dollars to figure out what we already know. And what we found out was that search was doing 80% of the work. We knew this. So that was out. So that was just the preliminaries. Here's a little bit of data. A few months later, it comes out and they say, okay, we have the data, and we're recommending that Lewis County start a hospital-based ambulance immediately. That echoes from the meeting I had months prior. Next step, Jerry Carrier stood in front of the legislature and said, this is bad business. We don't want to do that. So then we got the ad hoc committee together, which is a committee that's been together for 3 or 4 years that has brainstormed over and over and over to find a solution to the reduction in volunteerism. We talked everything from what our legal opportunities are to reimburse volunteers. At one point they had talked about making the volunteers county employees so that they could actually pay them per call. Now, we worked through this over and over and over and over again, and it was one of those meetings that I finally said, guys, we got to come together as one. I mean, we got to have one entity throughout the county, and that's where it all started. But the hospital-based system, they wanted to go that way. The hospital says it's not good business, and I think most people know it's not. It's going to hurt the hospital significantly. But their key issue was they wanted to move patients out of the hospital. Okay, they want interfacility transports. Dr. Mathis has been very adamant. He wants one of our ambulances in his parking lot to take it at any time. I can't do that. He had LifeNet come in and sit there. That lasted twice. They can't do that. 90% of all the patients we take out of the hospital interfacilities are non-critical. There are a percentage of them that absolutely need to go immediately, and we do provide ambulances for that. But what you'll hear is I will reserve a crew for 911. And why is that? Because we're going both ends of the county all the time. And we're doing that because you have a lack of services in those areas. Now, if I take my last crew out, you've got nobody. So I leave at least a basic crew, and that wasn't good enough for them. So we got this mess. Mathis sent a letter, and I want to address that right now. The items on that letter, the big elephant in the room is the narcotics, right? Somehow we're mishandling narcotics. I'm going to tell you, 6 years he's been our medical director. Never once have we ever had a complaint. Never once have I had a phone call to say, hey, Josh, I have a concern. Never once have I had an email saying, hey, I'd like to see something. Nothing ever, right? So I didn't know what it was. I called our pharmacist. I called Lucy over at the pharmacy, who is in charge of all of our narcotics, and I said, what am I missing? And she said, I don't know. I don't know. Everything's good. I don't know. So when I went to meet with the county, they have John Morrissey, who they hired. I guess that's up to debate, but they had brought him in as an expert who was a state employee who was in charge of regulations for this area. And he finally clued me in as to what they were referring to, and this was, buried in DOH law. It states that the medical director has to review every narcotics administration, which I knew that. But it's his responsibility to review them. It's not my responsibility to take every chart I have over and drop it on his desk and say, hey, look at these. He has every chart at his fingertips through their portal. He can pull any chart. If he walks down to the hall to the pharmacy, he has every chart in the pharmacy, because in order for us to restock our medications, we take a copy of the chart that we wrote with the medication administration, what we used, how much we used, what protocol we used it on, how much we wasted, who wasted it, everything. And we give it to the pharmacy, and we get a return from the pharmacy to replenish. So it's all right there.
It's hospital bills.
Correct. It's right down the hall. The staffing. He wanted to see our staffing for the last 3 months. I sent it to him. All this stuff I sent to him. I replied and sent him everything. He wanted to see our staffing for the last 3 months because he felt we were insufficiently staffed and we weren't staffing shifts, which was untrue. We have staffed 2 crews all along. At times, when we're short-staffed, we may only have 1 paramedic crew and 1 basic crew, but we have 2 crews. We've always been fully staffed. So that information went out to him. He required that we send him our scheduling a month in advance, as if, in basic terms, he was going to somehow staff the ER accordingly or something, and I don't know how. I'll be honest, that I did not send. And I didn't send that because, number one, that is fluent and changing all the time. So, but I responded to every little thing he wanted, with the exception of the next month's staffing, which, to be honest with you, as a medical director, that's not his responsibility. But regardless, if I felt it was necessary, I would have given it. If I felt it was useful, I would have given it. I'm not here to hold anything. So now we come back to the ad hoc committee got together, so we got 2 options. One option is we support search and rescue, and one option is we go countywide. County takes it over. Okay? Now, mind you, there's a bunch to this. If the county decides to take it over and search goes away, there's a couple of things here. One, if they start an ambulance, what they're going to do is they're going to take all the interfacility transports out of the hospital. Interfacility transports are 1/3 of our business, 2/3 of our revenue. As soon as they take the interfacility transports out, we're down to 1 crew. We can't afford to operate the way we do. So we would be down to a crew, best case scenario, to cover this area, and that's it. Now, if they started an ambulance and we decided we had to dissolve and become county employees, because we talked about that, now it comes down to we've got to donate all of our assets. Okay. Now, cash assets at the beginning of every month are typically between $1.1 and $1.3 million. That's cash. And then all of the other, our buildings, our ambulances, our equipment, everything would have to be donated to a like service. Our point is, why reinvent the wheel? We're already here doing it. We've already identified we're doing 80% of the work. We already have the equipment, we already have the ambulances. Why are we going to start a county? Why are we going to spend $4 million to start a county-based ambulance? Now, while we're at that, I want to add to this. If you start an ambulance, where are you going to put it? Because number one, it's going to serve the hospital. That's been evident right from the get-go. Interfacility transports are going to be the primary goal of that ambulance. How's that going to affect the 911 system? It's really not going to help the 911 system. And if you start a hospital-based ambulance or even a county-based ambulance just to do interfacility transports, you desecrate search and rescue's ability to provide for the rest of the county due to funding. So it's kind of it's a complex situation we have there. But in the end, we stuck and we said, okay, we felt like the letter from the medical director was prompted because there was individuals from the county that met with Dr. Mathis an hour before they came to our board meeting to discuss our plans going forward. And then from that day forward, we were given an extreme timeline. I think we had like 2 weeks to come up with a decision as to what we were going to do. So our board met after, so Tim Hunt and John Morrissey and Bob McKenzie all came and met with us. We talked about it. And in that meeting, it seemed like Tim was more so a, hey, you know, we should support search, and John Morrissey's more of a, no, you got to go county based, and it was a back and forth. But our board met after that and had discussions. And really, again, what we want to make sure it's very clear is what is the most fluent way to provide EMS from Osceola to Harrisville every single time. That is our goal. And sitting in the operations role and looking at EMS. Now, I've been the chief for 7 years. I've been with search for 9 years. I've gone through COVID. I've gone through all kinds of things that have seen our staffing go up and our staffing go down, and I've seen volunteerism come up and I've seen volunteerism go down. And I have a front row seat of how EMS runs, where the gaps are, and how we can fix it. So our board has been involved in that, and we all agreed that search should remain, and we chose to remain. Instantly, once I got the letter, went to a different medical director, because to me that was completely unfair for the guy that's responsible for, and I'll explain the medical director. A medical director is our extension, so we're allowed to practice under his medical direction. All right, so I do understand his license and the need for him to be a part of it, but from 6 years of nothing to one day a 10-item list of I'm going to drop you tomorrow if you don't comply, I thought was extremely unfair and unprofessional. So I'm done. So we went to another medical director immediately, knowing that the county was already in there talking to him. I didn't see a win out of this at all. So we changed. All right. So we have an interim medical director now at a Samaritan, with our intention of going, our goal, and so you guys are aware, our goal was to go away from Mathis as a medical director prior to that. We just weren't in a hurry. We were really looking for a very specific medical director, and what we were looking for was a young trauma doc, primarily more than likely out of like SUNY Upstate, that was heavily involved in EMS, that would expand our scope. All right, what that does, and with a good medical director, it allows our paramedic scope to expand out. All right, things like finger thoracostomies and say RSI, rapid sequential intubation, things like that. They train you and they allow you to open up your scope. All right, we didn't get that with Dr. Mathis. We're looking for somebody who will do that. And when you talk about the hill and the snowmobiles and the ATVs, finger thoracostomy would be a phenomenal life-saving skill that any paramedic can do. They'll allow us to do cripes. In other words, we can cut a throat open and stick a tube in it, but they won't let us put a tube in a chest. Then we can put little needles in there, but we can't put a tube. And in fact, it saved a life in the hospital last winter before last, when Fort Drum came in to do a transport. Doctor called a time of death. Fort Drum medics wouldn't allow it, went in and did a finger thoracostomy on their own, and that guy's still alive. So there's life-saving skills that can be performed out in the field that when you have a good medical director will allow us to do that. So we were already on our way to move it onto a new one. This just expedited the process. But regardless, we still answered all the questions. We still responded politely. We still did all the things. Okay, we just moved a different direction. Tonight, I wanted to give you guys the insight, because there's a ton of information out there. I've heard everything from us searchers doing standbys in Messina and searchers doing standbys in Herkimer, and all they care about is the money. I promise you, and that came from a legislator. I promise you, we never did a standby in Messina, we never did a standby in Herkimer. All right, but that's the information that gets out there that really muddies the waters. And I think the only way to clear that up is to come talk to you guys and explain where we're at. So with that said, tonight, one of the things that we're discussing, if the county does choose to move forward and start their own ambulance service, they're going to get a municipal CON, which is going to be countywide. Okay, they can compete with us at this point. They can go to PSB and say, we want to be the first dispatched, and we're sitting on our thumbs, unless we have a resolution from townships and villages that state that they want search and rescue as their primary. And all that means is that we would be the first dispatched ambulance into your territory. If we were not available, they would automatically, as always, go to the second available. It just simply states we want searches first. So I passed that on to Mayor Solomon, and I asked you guys to consider that. So that search remains. 50 years of service. Search started EMS in this county. Search started ALS in this county under significant duress back then. And we're now providing, and at this point, it'd be more than 80% of the work in the county. I don't see any reason to reinvent the wheel.
Does anybody on our board have any questions for Mr. Levesque? I have given this a lot of my personal time, as Mr. Levesque will tell you, because many weeks ago, I was meeting with Mr. Hunt on another issue, and the question came to me what my stance was on search and rescue. And my remark was, I don't want politics to get involved. And I stand by that. And it's been said to me, well, politics are involved. So my remark to that is, okay, if I go into a department store and I buy a puzzle that has 1,000 pieces, and I open the box, and 900 are missing, you can't put the puzzle together, that 900 pieces to me was all of us. And it was never discussed with us. So I'm promoting, and Wendy has a copy of it, a simple resolution that can be read that would allow them to be the primary if something were to happen, because they're right here in the community, they've proven themselves. That resolution can then, at any time, go the other way. Wendy, would you read that resolution, please? Thank you.
I did put it in the packet.
I know, but just go ahead and read it.
Okay.
No, I wish I had more mics to work with.
You're on a low budget.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, this is a resolution at a regular meeting of the village trustees for the village of Lowville held on this 19th day of August 2026. The following resolution was passed by a majority thereof. Effective August 19th, 2026, Lewis County Search and Rescue, Inc. shall be the designated primary provider of emergency medical services for individuals within the village of Lowville. This means I don't know that word.
Inter alia.
Okay,
Among other things.
inter alia, that for any request for emergency medical services for individuals within the village of Lowville, Lewis County Search and Rescue, Inc. shall be dispatched before any other service is called, subject to patient rights. In the event Lewis County Search and Rescue, Inc. is unavailable, the next available appropriate service shall be dispatched. A copy of this resolution shall be presented to the Lewis County 911 Dispatch Center and any other entity involved in the dispatch of emergency medical services within Lewis County. This resolution shall remain in force and effect until rescinded by resolution. That's it.
So what I'm going to say at this point is, like I said, I have spent a lot of time on this in the last 3 weeks. All this does is protect an agency, in my eyes, that's been here for us for 50 years, that's right in the village, that has done an excellent job. I personally they've been to my house once for an issue, did a phenomenal job. As a matter of fact, I can remember Scott Suter at the time was part of it, maybe still is, I don't know. But I can tell you that I'm all for this. I'm going to make the motion and to sign this resolution. Look, if somebody is willing to second it, I would appreciate a second at this point in time.
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Trillian. I'll take a roll call vote. Karen Taylor.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Chuck.
Yes.
Tim.
Yes.
The resolution passes 5-0. We'll see that the dispatch gets it within the next few days. I will sign it tonight because I'm going to be out of town for a while. And I thank you for on behalf of myself, for what Search and Rescue has done for this village for the last 50 years. Nobody's perfect. They're going to work through the issues. I've been told the county had a meeting with certain individuals on Monday, and the meeting went quite well. And that's encouraging. That's very encouraging. But ultimately, in case something goes wrong, I think that as a village, we have just said that we support search and rescue.
We greatly appreciate it, and I want you guys to know we are continuing to work through this. We haven't just shut off and said we're not going to work with the county. It's been easy to do and say I'm not going to deal with that. We're just going to pull our way through, but that's not what's in the best interest of everybody. So we did meet again. We met on Monday. We're meeting again in a couple of weeks. We are working through this to try to figure out what's best and how we get through it. And that conversation was a very positive one, and I feel like the ones going forward will be as well. This resolution tonight is just to protect the assets of Lewis County Search and Rescue in the village of Lowville.
And I think maybe politics are going to be removed from it.
I hope so.
Good.
There's no place for them here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. We will move forward. Grace Metzler is here. And Grace, I understand today that you had a meeting with Wendy and Paul on the EV. Tim.
Yes.
Tim. Was Paul was there too, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, everybody.
And the thing that I've been concerned about, hopefully will be resolved, and that is, whenever we get a grant for something like this, it's all fine and good. But then you got to worry about maintenance, and I'm being told that that's probably going to be taken care of also.
Yeah. So you could do both of those items tonight if you were open to that. So that's my electric vehicle charger update. Any questions on that?
How many banks are going to be in each location?
So there's two ports, and then they each have 2 ports. So it would be a total of 4 chargers at each site. Yep. And I did send the equipment specs that our contractor is hoping to move forward with earlier today.
So the $900 a year after the 5 years would be for each charger or for each location?
No, for each location. So that's like a preventative maintenance estimate. But what I've been trying to negotiate is that we try to pay everything up front for the whole 10 years, so you just know.
What our contractor is not sure of is if they can guarantee prices 5 years out. So their proposal was just wait till 5 years, get a new agreement at that time, and it may be less. It may be, trust me, I hear you. That's why I want to get it done now. But I haven't been able to pin that down yet.
Here's the elephant in the room. Will the revenues, if we were stuck with the maintenance, would the revenues cover the maintenance costs?
My short answer, I think no. I would certainly not plan on that. So even at the time of application, the way that we phrased it was we understand, and speaking from the county's perspective, but this is how we presented it across the board, we understand that the reason to install these is for the public benefit, not for the revenue generation. So there will be some revenue. We just don't think it's sufficient to cover all of the costs.
So I'm going to say this out loud. So if there's a shortfall, the village of Lowville would be expected to cover for the benefit of all.
Right, that's how it was presented at the beginning. That's how it's been for other communities. The idea is this is a asset that isn't here yet. There aren't EV chargers on the network at this time, and it's an asset that brings different people to the
So Grace, I guess what scares me is it could be very minute, but do we know? I mean, do we have anybody out there that we can use as an example of what it costs to maintain those versus what they're getting for revenue? Is there any of that information
Yeah, so
out there?
that's where the estimate comes from, is kind of those ballpark numbers of, 80 to 150. Some sites have more for a demand charge per month, but it's just really challenging to look at that across communities because you can decide how much you charge per kilowatt hour. So that's some of what we discussed this morning is you can play around with what you're charging and see like what fee you're charging. I realize charging in the context of
So
charging.
if that's what you're telling me then is we're probably covered maintenance costs based on the fee we charge.
You could make a dent. Again, I don't want to present this as a revenue generator. I don't think that's accurate.
I don't want it to be a revenue generator. I don't want it to be
An
expense.
Yeah.
And that's very concerning because there's a lot of things that are going on right now and that it's put pressure on the community. We're looking at 20% health insurance increase and those kind of things. And I do appreciate the hard work that you've done on that, but I certainly would want, and Mr. Troy, who's been very interested in having this, I certainly think it's a great thing. I just think we have to be very cautious.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's the same reasoning behind these applications as when you first applied, which is the idea that it's going to bring folks into the center of the village. While they're charging, they may go to our businesses, to our community centers. That's the reasoning. You as a village have to decide if that's a reasoning that's compelling to you or not. But I don't want to be standing here telling you you're going to make a profit off of it. That would be my
I
hesitation.
think it's going to more so bring people in, but I think it's going to make people stop in the village.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I think they have charges in Utica or whatever. I don't know where the closest one is, but there's
Far.
nothing here. What's that?
Yes.
Everything's on,
Yeah.
everything's on an app.
Nothing here.
So you're driving.
So if you see that on your app coming through, the bed and breakfast, I don't know how many people want to plug in somewhere. Seriously.
Yeah,
Because, and that's
and here's the thing, I get that, Tim, and my concern is now all of a sudden we got everybody coming in and our expense could explode. And I'm not trying to displace it. What I'm saying is because maintenance.
yeah. I think that.
I'm in favor of it, but I just want.
I guess what I'll say, as far as maintenance concerns, Dan, goes, like if you're getting exponentially more utilization, these same chargers are installed in extremely urban areas and they last through, hundreds of thousands of uses. So we would have to see a pretty extraordinary utilization rate to see like damages because of frequent overuse or something like that.
I think so. I don't have a problem moving forward.
And I'll just reiterate, signing the contracts is not committing to, you don't ultimately have to move forward with installing the chargers. Right. So this is just saying, yes, we still intend to do this. We're still looking into it. It gives you time to keep thinking about it. So.
Tim, did you get a chance to see the contracts?
No.
They don't exist yet.
Oh, that's right.
She said our best benefit is to approve it per the attorney's review, basically. Once they come
I
out.
thought somebody Said that,
Yeah.
what, did you get a different contract today?
You have the right to resolve to approve it. If you want to make it contingent upon my review, you can do that to get that step and get the ball rolling. And also, I understand there's a second resolution, is it, to extend this for an extra year?
Correct. Yep.
You can certainly proceed with each of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve,
Okay.
you know, the contracts once they're proposed with Attorney Burroughs'
Second?
I'll be with that.
Mr. Radstead, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, keep going, thank you.
And I'll say too, if folks have questions that you want to send along my way, then by all means.
Just a point of interest, I was driving back from Connecticut this past weekend.
Yep.
And in the thruway stops, there are charging stations, and it was kind of comical watching this one. A guy pulled in, plugged in, next thing you know, he and his wife and the little kids are out in the parking lot, and, you know, they were going to be there for a while, they knew it.
Yeah.
They know how far you can get before you're going to have to stop, and actually it's right around lunchtime, so.
Yeah, people plan their travels accordingly, absolutely, just as Tim explained.
Anytime I get out of the area, I just check the charging stations to see if anybody's stopped or.
And Dan, you know, the best part about it is we'll be able to track it all the time. So we can see, you know, if, say we're getting a lot of usage, we can up that charge that we're gonna get, you know,
Yeah, we
and actually
can-
make a little more
after a
money.
little bit, we should be able to control it, so we're not making money, but at least.
Right.
I'm not concerned about us making money, I'm just
No,
concerned about us
break even.
losing.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I don't look at it as a revenue generator, I look at it as a service that doesn't burden the village.
Totally heard. So other updates, downtown revitalization initiative.
Can I just stop you? I'm
Yes.
sorry. Can you give me a motion to extend the
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
I'll make a motion to extend the program.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried.
There, now you can.
All right.
Sorry.
No worries, thank you for catching that. The Downtown Revitalization Initiative, my update is short and sweet. We have all 3 contracts returned and we have 2 of our amendments returned. The last one that we're waiting on, we still need to process an amendment request for the Veterans Memorial Park. I've asked for that template amendment from New York State. I haven't gotten it back yet. I did follow up again this morning. I got another out of office notice from the Department of State, so I'll try again in a couple days.
Have they been caught?
What's that?
Have they been caught?
Oh, no, Jen's excellent, I'm sure she'll be back. But we'll get that processed. We don't need a signature on it at the front end, we need a signature on it once it's approved by the state, so we'll get that to you once we have it. The other item there is once everything's ready, the Veterans Memorial Park will probably be the first project that we move forward with. So as trustees, just have it kind of marinating in your mind who you think would make sense to serve on that committee. We'll do a kickoff meeting where, you know, interested parties, key stakeholders, folks from the village can all meet together, understand the project scope and kind of the steps and tasks to be undertaken. Again, I went over this very briefly with Wendy this morning, just to help understand kind of the roadmap. And then once we do it for one project, there'll be a lot of similarities between the other 2. All right? So just start thinking about who doesn't have to exclusively be board members. It could be, you know, relevant community members, strong experience, what have you. Folks who you might think have a good vision for where you want the park to go. So,
I can think of one automatic right now.
well, there you go. But something to discuss amongst yourselves and be prepared with that. All right? Any questions on the DRI? All right, we're on the home stretch, folks. Thanks for your patience. Let me make sure. All right. I did want to bring to your attention, and I know it's under new business, so I can talk about it and then you can get to it when you get to it, but the CDBG Imminent Threat Grant Program, the county is looking to add 2 new locations. They're adjacent properties in the village of Lowville. If you recall, we had worked with you all back in 2024 to put together an application for demolition of vacant blighted structures in the village. One of the demolitions is actually proceeding likely tomorrow over on 5314 Dan Street. This program is great. It's 100% grant covered. So what we're asking for, because we've ended up with a little bit of grant money left over with all of our demolitions complete, We're asking for the state to consider approving us to add 2 more properties to complete. We got the homeowners buy-in. There are 2 sites over on Stowe Street. She's definitely interested in participating in the grant. So you as the village, what we're asking for is what's called a declaration of slum and blight. What you're doing is you're affirming that you understand and agree that these 2 properties are safety risks, that they have a visual adverse impact on the community, and that you think that it would be appropriate for them to be taken down. It's not a financial commitment. Once you do the resolution, it's one and done, and then we can proceed with including it. The packet, I believe you do have.
Yeah.
If not, I have a. So there's images of the properties. It's 5441 Stowe Street and 5449 Stowe
It's
Street.
Francis Mean, the Francis
I'm
Mean.
aware of the property, I'm just trying to find it here. I'm not totally so.
Oh, the pictures are not there. I didn't
Oh, okay.
copy them.
I do have, you
I
can
have
pass
it.
it around. I have a physical copy, I think.
One next to the bridge, and one next to the station.
And codes condemn both.
Yes, so one of the parameters of this grant program is it has to be a condemned structure, and both of these are.
So what do you need, just a simple motion from us, Grace?
Yes, so there is a, like a declaration template in the packet, and so if you were to approve that, it would just be returning that template to us.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just need motions.
Motion to.
Do they have to be separate
We'll
for
go-
each property?
I did not write them separately because they're adjacent, and I
Okay.
think it's appropriate.
Well, the one is the Dane one, you need 2 then, one for the 2.
Nope, the Dan Street, you approved back in 2024, so that is
Done.
majorly done, like that is happening tomorrow, so, yep, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll take a motion for the 2 on Stowe Street.
So moved.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So the first one on new business, I guess we can also cross off.
Thanks, folks.
Do you have anything more?
My last but not least, I just wanted to put it on your radar, the Department of State Mill Creek Stream Bank Stabilization Project is moving forward. We almost have our executed contract with the state. If you recall, we had had a letter of support from the village back in 2025 when we applied, saying that you would go halvesies with the county on the match. So I expect that match amount will come in at about $12,000. Just wanted to put that on your radar. I don't think the project will go forward until 2027 or realistically probably summer 2028.
That'll
So,
include dredging.
so it'll include, it's a full stream bank restoration. So it's like nature-based stream design. It first takes out all of the extra debris that ended up in there, including the sediment. And then you restore it with what's called J-hook structures, and it helps reroute the flow of water so that the sediment builds up in desirable locations instead of in the center of the flow. So I'll be reaching out about an IMA to formalize what was originally just in the letter of support, and we'll go from there. Any other questions, folks? All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Savini, you're up, or Paul, I don't know.
I do it. So Paul and I met with the municipal board last week. We talked about the progress on the groundwater well project, which is still preliminary hydrogeologic reports are being written for, those will be sent to the health department and the DEC for discussions about an additional groundwater well and how we would proceed with that project. In the meantime, Paul and I have been brainstorming about different maintenance items. You've had a DOH inspection on your water system, so those are all going to kind of come together and do some recommendations for another groundwater well project. And we just want your, I guess, support in continuing those discussions. I think the next thing we need to talk about is a discussion with your financial, municipal solutions on how we would fund this, how to work the funding, what's our funding strategy, because you'll have to like we did with the last project, you'll have to come up with funds to build this. Ultimately, you're gonna try for grants from New York State for a portion of it, but you'll have to spend the money before those grants would reimburse you, like you did with the last groundwater project.
Maybe in a couple of weeks, we can get a conference call with Paul, yourself, myself, and Wendy
Okay.
to talk with Jeff to see
Yep.
what he thinks. Because
Yep.
my concern is, can we continue to bond?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Yep, and you know, you, last time you did some short-term bonds, kind of like similar to a construction loan for your house. And then you, ultimately, you'll do a, refinance that whole project with New York State EFC typically for a municipal infrastructure project. So you do that for your long-term financing. So how we structure all that, we need to make sure we're dotting all the i's, crossing the t's every step of the way, so ultimately you can get a grant from New York State for a portion of the project.
Anything else, Matt?
That's it.
Okay.
So the municipal board did make that a recommendation, so if you would like to do the same with a motion, that would be great.
To pay the
To
$35,000.
proceed with furthering the well free.
Go ahead. Somebody.
Yeah, I'll make one.
Second. Second. All in favor?
I,
Vote. Motion carries.
Thanks.
Mr. Austin, you have a new member that you're proposing?
Two of them, I think.
two, yes. Well, one's a junior member being
Right.
moved up.
Yeah, one was our junior member, who's now 18, so he joined as a full member, so he was our first junior member, and he did all the basic training while we were there, and the other one's actually a transfer from another department, so she comes into the training as well, so.
Brendan Bauer and Destiny Sampson. Brendan being the junior member and Destiny being the transfer from Glenfield. I'll take a motion
I'll make that motion.
for both of those. Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion's carried.
Danny?
Yes.
Can we jump to the other fire department stuff too? Because I gotta scoot out at about 5:05.
You have the floor.
So, I just wanna know if anyone has any, I know the budget's on here, and then I just wanna know if there's any questions or anything. If not, I'm fine, I'm good with it.
I reviewed the budget and with Wendy, and I'm waiting to see what one township says. Other than that, I think, and actually percentage-wise, based on the new appraised value, everybody just came out about the same.
Right.
So I didn't have any questions with it. I think it's a very fair budget. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I just wanted to open it up in case anyone did have any questions, so.
Do you have anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, Paul, we're all set pretty much with moving forward with the roof. You're in discussions with the fire department on that, correct?
Haven't been lately.
Okay, but we're moving forward pretty much.
But yeah, we're moving forward with the AC stuff, very slowly, but we're still moving forward with it, so.
Okay. I just don't want you to think I forgot it, but because I haven't. That's it, Joe?
Yep, that's all I had.
Okay, you've got another meeting to go to? You're gonna be on time, unless it's out of town.
Well, it's out of town, but I'll be in time.
Daryl, send somebody to follow him. We need the revenue.
I'm leaving the village, so.
Well,
Not leaving the radio though.
we had a letter from First Presbyterian Church for support. You probably reviewed it. It's in your packet. It's pretty simplistic, and I think that it's very simple to just support this. So I take a motion for. It doesn't involve any finances, just other than a support from us.
Good. I will make that motion.
Mr. Adstack.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The next item on the new business is raising fines for parking tickets. I'm going to ask at this time that we table that because there's a couple of other things I would like to review. Mainly, Daryl, I'd like to just maybe for the last 12 months, just see how many tickets we've actually written. And we're going to try to get some revenue figures on the last 12 months and kind of play with that to see how it's doing. We get a report each month, but if you could just tally those up for us for the 12 months. So with that, does anybody have a problem tabling that for now as we move forward? Because I understand that there's a few other things like changing the tickets, which I'm not against because things happen where you have to change things, but I want to see how we're doing ticket written versus fines paid, because the parking tickets that have been written the last few months have been significant. I think it was 44 last month.
It was fair months.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that people will start following the parking regulations. We've got a few in the community that think that they can just challenge them, and that's too bad because I think most of the people, they come in and a lot of them pay them, and I think some of them probably are going to find a repeat offenders that haven't paid them. And
I think she said it was like 50 or 55%
that's a lot.
compliance.
Yeah, so that's a lot that aren't compliant. And,
I don't think raising it's going to help. I think it's going to get worse.
well, and that's why we may have to. And I'm open to listening to that, but I just feel that we've got to figure out a way to curb that, because I think parking in the village is probably only going to get worse. Maybe not. The county's got some plans to curb, but that's just a small fraction of it. I think the big problem, in fairness to a few in the county that want to park illegally, I think your bigger problem is probably downstream, which I'm not as familiar with. The Lions parking lot and what have you.
I'm just doing quick math. Since January, there's 100 tickets.
Okay. I could have swore I saw last month, maybe there was like
There's
40.
44 last month, 13
That was
in
probably
July,
fair.
25 in June. I'm back. Like I said, the rough math is about even.
You don't have to get that to me. It carries come out. Okay. We'll just tally that up ourselves. You don't get that report? I'll forward it to you.
Yeah, she gets. I said it here.
It's right here at the end of your packet.
Does it have the total tally?
Yeah.
Okay. We got it, man. Very good. The next item on the agenda is safety hazards, spills on the street.
Budget amendment.
Budget. Thanks.
Budget amendments first, Terry.
I'll cross that off. I apologize, Wendy. Wendy provided us with the budget amendments. Very, very simplistic. There's like 4,600, and then in the contingent account, 256 for band concerts. Did I go over to that for the band concert? Okay. Motion to approve those? Mr. Woodrick, second, all in favor? Opposed? They're carried. So, I got a text from somebody, and before I knew it, it was already being addressed. We're having a problem with sanitation trucks or manure trucks, whatever you want to call them, that have excessive waste that is being spilled on the streets. I guess Paul talked to Daryl, and Daryl was going to go out and talk with the farm. I got that correct?
Mm-hmm.
What did they tell you?
You know, we cleaned it up.
Did they say anything about how they would try to stop it moving forward?
No, it's just an accident. It's not a big reoccurring issue. I mean, once a year maybe.
Okay. I know that I've witnessed it maybe more than once when they pull down where Gerald Nortz's business used to be and they put on the brakes, it flows right out of the top of the truck. And I've seen that more than once, so I don't know if they're loading them too much or what it is or why they're flowing out of the top, but I know that it's an issue. I guess my other question is, do we have any kind of a law on the books that would I mean, we have it for animals like dogs, but I don't know.
I haven't looked into the question. My instinct is I'm sure there's something at the state level or could be adopted locally, but I've not looked at the question.
There's vehicle and traffic law.
Probably.
If it continued, I would definitely address it that way, but it's not a huge issue.
Okay.
You know, they're cooperative. They sent a crew right out.
Good. That's all. I mean, but that guy was pretty mean. But anyways. Part-time officers increase, we've discussed that. And I'm asking that we consider $1 an hour raise for part-time officers so that we can be competitive with other areas. I'll take a motion for that. Unless anybody's got questions. Mr. Woodrick moves.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The next thing on the agenda. I apologize. I thought I had this out. Next on the agenda is Clinton Street. And Daryl and I discussed an issue with one person up there. And I went by there the other day, and his truck was in the yard. So apparently, does he understand our concern?
It won't go. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's-
So we don't. He lives on a knoll, and he parks it out on the road, and it could create a safety hazard. Oh, so you know where it is. All right. Daryl went up and talked to them, so that's off the agenda for now. Correspondence, Mickey Woodrick is out of,
This gentleman here.
you're the new Mickey today?
Yep, Mickey Dietrich is not here, so my name is Paul Shepard. I'm an associate circuit writer for RACOG. If I haven't met everybody, it's a pleasure to meet you guys. Just can verify everybody has the digital copy of the new report, and that's the new format. So if you are not finding something that you're looking for, you're used to finding in a certain place, have a look through the report, and if you still don't see it, please let Mickey know, and we'll make sure that we're getting you the same information we always get you, and making sure that that information is easy to read in that new report. For the benefit of the public, just general highlights. The next RACOG meeting will be on October 21st. That's the tentative date. We don't have the time yet. As we get closer, we'll get the time and location published. RACOG has adopted their new strategic plan, which is similar to your municipal comprehensive plan, so that'll guide us through the next 10 years or so. And that was really good news. Also, if you know of anybody who would like to be an associate circuit writer like myself, Mickey is looking to get somebody else because he can't make it to every single meeting. So if you know of somebody who's interested in municipal service, that would be a good recommendation. Let Mickey know. Update from Carthage, adjacent municipal grant that was received. Carthage received grant funds in the amount of $839,000 for their park. So that's good news, but it also highlights the opportunity for your municipality to request grant writing support from RACOG and ultimately from Tug Hill Commission. We work very closely with your county and town and regional municipal leaders to support grant writing for services just like this. Where I live in Black River, the Tug Hill Commission has sent in Maria, one of their supporting employees, to help us write our comprehensive plan. So our village, right off the bat, after joining RACOG, saved $20,000 to $30,000 just on our comprehensive planning. So that service is also available to you if you do need that. SuperCog meeting, that is the larger group of all the members of the Council of Government. We'll be meeting on 22 September at 6 p.m. That'll be at the Redfield Fire Hall. Good opportunity to discuss current goings on. Maybe it'll be about your DRI applications or something else another municipality might want to learn about. Town budget workshop is going to come up on 26 August at 6 p.m. in the town of Lee. So if there's anything you've been challenged with on your budget, it might be a good opportunity to discuss that or learn something different that's going on. Tug Hill Commission's annual meeting will be on October 8th at the Adams Country Club. And also for your services on your municipal streets, the Metro Count service is still available. Chris Barboza runs that program from Tug Hill Commission, and he is able to service your municipal streets if you're seeing increased traffic issues. He can give you counts of types of vehicles, size, speed, and help you identify any issues that you may be seeing. That can support your applications for grants on radar signs or things like that. Again, that's Chris Barboza, and he's from the Tug Hill Commission. Mickey can get you in touch with Chris to schedule that. It does have to be done before you start plowing or be conscious of any street improvements that might be going on from DPW. Pending any questions, that's all I have, and I do thank you for your time.
Thank you. Welcome aboard. We've got a letter from NICOM that you have in your packet. You can read it. The next correspondence after that was from Dayton King, telling us how wonderful Wendy is. That was nice. So that's there for you to look at. We then had we did receive $1,000 from the Northern New York Community Foundation grant That we will, if we haven't received it, when we receive the money, Wendy and I have been confirmed that everything is a go. We'll have the money at any, whenever. Checks in the mail, I guess. Lowville Baptist Church sent us a letter thanking Mr. Denise and crew for whatever they did, and that's very, very nice. And so, Paul, did you see that correspondence?
Yeah, I gave it to you.
Oh, you gave it to me, okay. Okay. Well, then you saw it, very good. Then we had from the Lewis County conditions for piece of property on South State Street. I think that thing is self-explanatory. The Lowville Band sent us correspondence as we go down through this, thanking us for what we did for the 200th anniversary, which I think turned out very, very nice. Fire department budget, I guess we've talked about, so that's fine. So we'll move to officer and committee reports. First on the agendas, Attorney Burrows, we have the response for the lawsuit that we will discuss in executive session. Quickly, I think you all got it earlier maybe today and maybe had a chance to look at it. I noticed a couple things that I talked to Mr. Burrows about that maybe have to be added or changed, but other than that, in my eyes, pretty good. The only thing I have is we have the DPW contract that we need to go into executive session for.
Excuse me, Dan, were you going to ask Mr. Burrows if he had anything else?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would ask to go to executive session for the pending litigation.
Okay. And so that's mine. That's all I've got. Clerk Treasurer.
Reports in the packet.
Chief of Police.
My report's also in the packet. I need to see if we can declare car 2, which is the 2017 Ford Explorer surplus. The new truck will be here tomorrow-ish, not here, but at the dealership. So if we get the ball rolling now, that car's almost 100,000 miles. It's already stripped down pretty much. Marcus has been using it for the academy, but we won't have a use for it after the next month. We won't have it.
Is he almost done?
Today's the last day. Starts with us Friday.
I'll make a motion, we declare that as surplus.
Tony? Second? Mr. Widrick, all in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried.
I just want to thank the fire department too. Chief Austin brought out a group of guys today to a not so nice situation that we dealt with, and his guys were fantastic.
I heard about it.
Yeah, they were great. One of them actually got bit by a dog, had to get treated, but he's fine. But he got bit in the finger. But his guys came out and were.
I thought you guys were supposed to be the ones that takes the bite out of crime.
No, not this dog.
Brandon, what happened? What happened, Brandon? Come on.
They were a huge help anyway.
Trying to compete with Mike Fail?
We couldn't have did it without him, so I just want to thank Chief Austin and the guys. That's all I have.
Okay. Paul?
Just a few things for the residents. You noticed we paved Woodland Ave today. We've had, we were going to pave Sunset and Hillcrest today, but we've had a water break up there. So other than that, I really don't have anything.
Okay. We'll skip capital, future and planning. We haven't done anything there. Personnel, do we have anything there? Just the contract. Contract. Finance.
Nothing.
Tony, Fire Department, you got anything?
I don't have anything to add that Joe didn't already cover.
Planning Board and ZBA.
Their meeting is this coming Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Municipal Board.
Well, this,
Talked about it, right?
we've already covered this Wednesday.
Okay. You don't have anything to add for next month? Okay. Towns tomorrow. County, I attended the last meeting. Tim, were you there?
No, I didn't.
I attended it, and it was pretty much what you saw tonight, search and rescue. Recreation, No news is good news. I think the summer rec program is going well. I haven't had a chance to discuss it with anybody. I have discussed, though, we're on the subject of, hopefully in the next week, we will have no parking signs up along Bostic Street because school will be starting, and we want people to be safe on that street. So that they'll be going up. I don't know if the school has talked, well, I talked with the superintendent because she sent me an email and I deflected it to Mr. Mullen, and I don't know if she's had that discussion with him yet or not, but they need to, if they haven't, they need to be moving on it. Ray Cog, we already did. Anybody else got anything? Other than that, we have a contractual issue to go into executive session for. So I'll accept the motion to adjourn and go into executive session. Paul, I want you to stay for it because it concerns DPW. And Wendy, you can stay to record anything. Daryl, you're free to go. And other than that, I guess we're